Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. And videos today from Alexander Grace.
Is that women are still unknowingly perpetuating patriarchal ideas when they want a more modern relationship. So I don't care if you want a traditional relationship or if you want a modern day one. But the problem is when you come with such high expectations, wanting both. So a lot of women break the mold of traditional households or dynamics. Like, I'm the boss ass bitch, I have my own business, I make my own money, I have my own opinions. That is great.
Should we be concerned that women's chosen term of empowerment to describe themselves is bitch?
Broken the mold. You better be giving potential partners
I also thought that was funny.
the same grace. So you're probably not going to be as feminine as women were in the past. So you better be okay with the men you might be dating not being as masculine as they were.
They should be, but
Alright, I mean, logic kind of tracks.
they're not.
Because the expectations that people have with men being financial providers and, being able to lead in relationships and be gentlemen and have this chivalrous behavior, those are all ideas and concepts created and perpetuated by the patriarchy.
Perpetuated,
Of course.
yes. Created, no. Male provision and protection are biological, not cultural in origin.
Probably more positive ones, but what people are doing is that they're nitpicking what they like and don't like and treating it like it's a buffet. It's not a buffet.
Who's people? Right? Like she's talking about as people as men doing it. No, it's fucking women.
Because if you make $300,000 a year, you don't need a man to make more money. You can desire a man to make more money, and that's okay. But
I understand what she's saying, and I appreciate her calling out women's double standards here. But if you listen to her, it's clear that
It's still kind of blaming men.
she still believes in the blank slate theory. But attraction is not primarily cultural, it's biological. What you sexually desire and what characteristics you're looking for in a mate can be influenced a little bit by culture, the same way that certain trends go in and out of fashion. But something like hypergamy is deeply wired into a woman's biology. Being attracted to a man with superior resources is an instinct that goes back in women hundreds of thousands of years. Women were attracted to status and leadership and wealth before money was even invested. So modern hypergamy might dictate that women are attracted to men who are making six figures plus, but that's not a cultural invention. That's just a modern expression of an ancient instinct, which is important to understand because for that woman who's making $300,000 per year, like logically, she doesn't need to be dating a man who's making more than she is. She's making plenty of money herself, but ultimately it's irrelevant because attraction is not logical in the ordinary sense of the word. It is biological, as in it is logical to our biology, not to our culture.
That makes total sense, right? I like big boobies. I don't think culturally told me, I was like, yeah, big boobies are it. No, I like big boobies because in my lizard brain, big boobies signal they can feed the kids. They can feed the kids really well. Maybe me too, I'm just saying.
you cannot hold men to a standard that you yourself do not meet.
They can, and
They do it constantly.
But yeah, they shouldn't.
And so if you want them to be more traditional and you're not traditional, it is hypocritical. Men have become more passive and more feminized than they have in the past because the conditions aren't set up for them to succeed as easily as they used to.
Absolutely. Feminism has done everything that it can to surgically remove men's balls from their bodies. And in doing so, they have lost the right to complain about men not being good protectors and providers.
The common man cannot support an entire family off of an average income.
Yes. Again, because of feminism.
It's just not possible. And so while women were developing more skill sets, developing more masculine traits, men were kind of getting a reality check where, oh shit, I am being invited to a level of masculinity that hasn't been required before because the bar has been risen. So a lot of men are struggling to step up and meet those expectations.
So somehow the bar got raised in masculinity, but masculinity as a whole went down for men. What?
No, that's not true. Men are not struggling to meet new expectations of masculinity. What men are struggling with are women who abuse men while themselves play victim. We're not struggling with new expectations of masculinity.
Yeah, we're all for it. We're men. It's kind of built into us, but when we do men things, it becomes toxic.
We're struggling with unparalleled heights of hypocrisy. That's what we're having difficulty with.
But if you don't want a traditional life, if you don't want to be a trad wife, that is totally okay. The old paradigm hasn't completely eroded yet. A lot of people still want that, and that's fine. But if you don't want that, you need to be able to adjust your expectations to something new. Relationships aren't going to look like what you're used to.
You know, I actually think that there's a lot of women who will listen to what she's saying and they'll nod their heads along. They'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that logic. Nothing. Like they'll be able to see the double standard and the hypocrisy, and they'll agree that it's not right, that it doesn't make sense. But then they'll just go straight back to their lives in their personal relationships with all of their privileges, and their behavior won't change at all. They'll continue to enjoy the benefits of modern femininity while demanding the same sacrifices from men practicing traditional masculinity. You see what I'm saying? It's not that they don't understand the logic or see the double standards.
They don't care.
It's that doesn't move them. It's not changing anything. That's what I've come to understand, is that we're not going to win this fight. We're not going to make change with appeals to logic, because if that was true, we would have already...
You have to make appeals to emotions, right? I think this is how everything kind of happens, is you appeal to people's emotions. If you can move people's emotions into a certain direction, you can move people.
One, the logic that this woman is articulating is so overwhelming. You can't argue against it. It makes such complete sense. The logic is entirely on our side. There is no argument, right? The discussion has been settled. But what it's not translating into is any change in women's behavior, because they just keep shifting the goalposts or evolving new attitudes, inventing new reasons why they should be immune from the rules that they are creating for others. That's why I say that we don't need to bring women more logic. You know, we need to bring women more consequences. They need to start paying a heavy social and relational cost for their hypocrisy. We need to make it painful and uncomfortable for them to not make a change.
There's a lot of conditioning that women don't know they still have that are perpetuating these things that they claim they don't believe in and that they don't want.
That's not conditioning, okay? That's privilege. And they don't want to give it up, right? It's as simple as that. Stop making women sound like they're passive victims. That excuse lost credibility years ago. A woman who demands this much from a man while giving this much back in return, you can't just excuse that and say, oh, well, that's just conditioning. No. Once that's pointed out to her, if she doesn't make any kind of a change, then that's just plain exploitation. That's abuse. That's unequal. She's a parasite who is living off him, and she needs to be treated as such.
There's a lot of modern day feminists still being provided for by a man. Those actions aren't aligning with the belief system. And there's a lot of like hyper independent, business babes that want more traditional setup, but they have a hard time delegating decisions or letting go of control and being able to be more flexible.
No. It's not control that they're having a hard time letting go of, it's privilege. The current system gives them the best of both worlds. It's huge benefits. That's what they don't want to let go of. And again, I don't mean to be too critical, because this woman, who I've unfortunately frozen at a bad frame, but she seems to be on the side of logic, but the watered down explanation that she's offering to explain female behavior tells me that she's not ready to confront the actual dark truths here. She's not...
Women are demons.
Ready to confront how cynical and exploitative and strategic the methods used by modern women actually are. There's a dark aspect to femininity, and
That's why I said demons. When you think of darkness, you think of demons.
Need to have that conversation. And maybe it'll take her some time to get there. Fuck, it took me some time to get there. But
it did. When I used to first watch Alex, he was a lot more nicer to women, and then after the last year or so, he explained why also, and it's just like, I'm glad, even myself, I was also very soft on women when I first started, and as things progressed, I had to get a little harsher, because women themselves were just not it. I can see more and more which was more of the problem, men or women. And it was very clearly women.
Right now, she doesn't seem like she's ready to actually face up to the truth about how selfish and self-interested femininity can actually be.
So when it comes to modern day dating, you better know yourself, because it requires a lot of knowing yourself and identifying your strengths and weaknesses. Modern day relationships looks like, hey, I'm really good in this area, so I will make decisions in this area. You're really good in this area, so you make decisions in that area, and then we'll come together for the rest. You need to be able to know yourself, though. You need to be able to be independent, but also emotionally available to have those conversations. Because what people tend to do is, like, the moment a partner brings something up that requires them to change, they will, like, summon, like, irrelevant, illogical arguments out of thin air.
Who is people? Again, she loves using people, right? But we know exactly who these people are. It's fucking women.
Oh no, you're trying to control me. You're trying to suppress me. I'm an independent woman. Oh wait, you better be providing for me. Like the next day, they're like, oh, you better be providing for me and you better be doing X, Y, Z. So they're manipulating and they're weaponizing, like, old traditional setups to...
Okay, I actually take back what I said before. This woman is onto it more than I realized. I should have let the video keep playing. She actually seems to have
I was like, actually, I also agree with you, Alex. Like, I think she knows more than us.
pretty good grasp
Or not more than us, but more than we think she knows.
of how women manipulate men using this double standard. Good for her, and props to her for calling it out. That's awesome.
like modern day dating. Like, there is no consistency. This is why I'm saying know yourself. Because this whole, like, whiplash thing that you're doing to manipulate someone to not have to change, to not have to decide, is only making you both miserable. A lot of people come into relationships thinking they need things that they don't. We actually have very little needs from another person. We have a lot more desires, but we're calling our desires needs. And that's...
This is why men's list is so short. Because these are the things we kind of need from women. Reciprocation, at least feed us and be nice to us, right? Like, there's not much that we need. Then everything else is just a nice bonus.
That's just not the case.
Yeah, it used to be that women would fulfill this role and men would fulfill this role. And the feminists believe that women now take on a lot more of the masculine role. The sort of mainstream normie consensus is that there's been a kind of meeting in the middle. But the truth, the reality, is that men have actually taken on a lot more of the feminine role. True. Men have taken over a lot more of the feminine workload than women have taken on of the masculine workload. That's the truth, because men used to be expected to be the financial providers, and guess what? They still are. That hasn't changed. Even if a woman is working now and earning her own money, her expectation with hypergamy is always that he should be earning more. And you get women saying things like, well, his money is our money, but my money is my money. So in terms of the feminine masculine roles, she hasn't really moved much in terms of actually relieving men of the burden of being the financial provider. But men have moved heaps, because the traditionally feminine roles of cleaning the house, taking care of the children,
it's just too much for women.
Cooking the meals. Men have massively stepped up into those arenas. I've covered the data on my main channel many times. There's never before been a generation of men who have done more in the household. If you combine the hours working with the hours of household chores, in relationships, men do more than women. And I agree with this woman that you can't pick and choose, which parts you want, like a buffet. If you want to be a modern woman, you don't get to demand a traditional man. But I don't think that pointing out the hypocrisy is actually going to change anything. I don't think women are as embarrassed to be pointed out to be hypocrites in the same way that men are.
It's the best way to think is, in my opinion, is to maybe show them the consequences of your constant actions and, thought process. Cat lady.
Actually needed are actions and consequences. Men need to collectively say, no, enough. These are now my new standards, my new expectations, my new boundaries. You meet them or we don't play this game.
It's true. Half of it is also men need to raise their standards too, right? Like, we just let these things happen. We let women trash us. We let women talk to us in such a fashion We don't have to. We just walk away. Let them deal with themselves. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And catch you guys next time. Ciao.